You can be great at scheduling, tracking KPIs, and writing flawless project plans. But the moment you're expected to lead people, everything changes. Welcome to the Project Management Masterclass, the show where project leaders are made. This platform exists for one reason. Tools don't deliver projects, people do. That's why the Power Skills Academy was created, to help project professionals master the skills that actually move the needle. Emotional intelligence, communication, collaborative leadership, and strategic thinking. The skills that elevate your influence and make people want to follow your lead. If you ever thought, what am I missing? This is your answer. Visit www.developpowerskills.com. The link is in the description. Now, here's your host, Brittany Wilkins.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you may be listening to Project Management Masterclass with your host, yours truly, Brittany Wilkins. Whether you are a new or frequent listener of the show, I appreciate you tuning in today. I'll start off by sharing that my career in project management has been quite the adventure. I've experienced the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows in my profession. And one of the lows in my career was failing the PMP exam 7 years ago about. And looking at my accomplishments and recognitions I've received for leading some of the top strategic initiatives within the organizations I've worked for, you would never know it, as our successes speak louder than our failures at times. Failing the PMP the first time, it really shook my confidence as I scored below target, and I didn't even attempt to retake it, knowing that I had 2 additional attempts to try to pass it. And that was my first mistake, and not really kind of capitalizing on retaking the exam with those 2 additional attempts. And over the years, PMI, Project Management Institute, has evolved with its standards. So therefore, the test has changed as well. So this meant, I had to start the process all over again. And my second mistake was believing that just because I do project management, that I'm guaranteed to pass the exam. I thought, coming off of my first big major project, that I understand project management. I'm able to do it and, do it under all these different types of constraints and circumstances. But again, that was just the misconception that I had going into the exam. So for quite some time, this is something that's been kind of haunting me. And at times I felt like really a hypocrite, as I was working with our engineering teams, and I would preach to them the importance of project management in mastering the basics. There was this new product development project for an ultra low NOx furnace. And this project was being co-led by product management and our gas furnace engineer. And I got assigned to this project as a supporting PM to provide guidance on the PDP process, which is our product development process. And in a few team meetings, I noticed that the project manager or the engineer, they never presented anything, or after the meeting, there was never any minutes of the meeting. So I asked the product manager, where is the RAID log? How are we keeping track of tasks and milestones? Come to find out, this was the first project he had ever led and had no clue what he was doing. And this is when I kind of took on an even more greater role within the project, and I began coaching him and the engineer. But myself, having learned project management kind of trial by fire, I really felt that I still had some gaps and I couldn't really teach what I did not know or understand. So I made the decision to myself get back to the basics, and I enrolled in a graduate certificate program for project management and project leadership to get formal project management training. And this was kind of the beginning of my journey to obtaining a PMP. And within the program, I gained a better understanding of how network diagrams work and earned value management. And it helped me to really look within myself and first understanding my own emotional intelligence and how my EQ impacts the projects I lead. But this program had a PMP study group component as well, which was one of the reasons why I enrolled in the program. And the instructor of the study group was PMP certified. And so he taught us the tricks of the trade and would answer our questions about project management and even gave the group a cheat sheet. But even after completing the graduate certificate program, I decided to not take the PMP. I first wanted to ensure I understood really the fundamentals, so I applied and took the CAPM exam. And passing the CAPM exam was a confidence booster for me. In the areas where I did not score above target, I focused on sharpening my knowledge and further preparation for the PMP to take it one day. What I also did was invest in PM study materials and develop a study plan. So in addition to getting the formal project management training, I invested in RMC Learning Solutions products. I bought the PMP exam prep study guide, flashcards, and kind of the online simulation exam practice. Because many have the opinion that the PMBOK is a very dry read. It's kind of the global standard for project management. And I agree with that to a bit, as the PMBOK has gotten better though. But what I liked about the RMC learning products is not only tells you what to study, but it tells you how to study and kind of think your way through the exam. Every chapter has exercises and multiple choice questions, and I thought the exercises were really beneficial for deepening really my understanding of project management, because it was the application applying what I'm learning. And the flashcards really came in handy for when I was on the go. So whether I was stuck in traffic, on a long flight, or just sitting in the beauty salon, I utilized that time to study for the PMP. Because we always say, I just don't have enough time to study, or how I'm going to squeeze this in with many of different life events occurring. But in those moments of when you're waiting a long time, or you have pockets where you could be utilizing that time to study for the PMP exam. But one of the things I also decided to do was that I wanted to evolve my experience within project management field. Because like any other organization, there are dozens of PMs. And from a career perspective, I wanted to elevate my career and begin to really stand out from my peers. So there was a role that opened up in my organization for a sustainability PMO. And I had no experience. I didn't even know what sustainability was. I really thought sustainability was kind of, the green and recycling at that time. And really the job qualifications preferred someone with the PMP. But I decided to really take that leap of faith and apply and really just utilize what I've done as a PM to sell kind of my skill set and my willingness to learn sustainability, but also use my CAPM credential as a selling point, as having mastered the fundamentals. And betting on myself, it paid off as I got the role. And I'm not gonna lie, it was challenging, and at times I felt insecure in the beginning. But it was really the team of experts around me that gave me the confidence to successfully lead this initiative. And up until I joined the sustainability team, I primarily led waterfall projects. And this project required me to partner with our digital organization, where I was introduced to Agile always heard about Agile and was familiar with it, but learning from the digital organization, I was brought up to speed really on learning the roles of a Scrum Master, prioritizing the backlog in Jira, product demos, and going through retrospectives. And so this was, to me, was on-the-job training for Agile methodologies that served me well. And that was really kind of my breakout moment where people began to kind of see me and kind of separate myself from the pack of the rest of the PMs within our organization. In fact, I was pulled from the sustainability team and was put on to lead another strategic initiative, Innovation Vitality. And while each of the projects were unique, the one thing that helped me to execute was always kind of leaning on the PM fundamentals and processes. And, getting this experience and evolving my experience, I believed it helped me to really see PM from a different side and perspective and learn how to tailor projects due to the different circumstances of each project, which were unique within themselves. So then I had a moment where, as I was kind of pondering my next career challenge, the PMP kept coming to mind. In a sense, I was feeling unfulfilled as this was the only giant that I really had not slayed. So on June 19th of this year, I applied to take the PMP exam. And in preparation for the exam, again, I utilized RMC Learning Solution materials, and I studied on my lunch break for 30 minutes. Then after I wrapped up my work day, I would stay over an extra 30 minutes to study each day. And on Sundays, I would read for a couple hours the PMP guide. And as I was traveling a lot for work, I took my flashcards with me on the go. But I knew that going into the PMP exam this second time around, I had to really adapt and establish a mindset of success. Because what got the best of me on the first PMP attempt, I knew I had to overcome it. I've never really been a great test taker. I get anxiety taking tests, but for me, I kind of changed my perspective about PMP. It was just not about just passing an exam. It was continuing to find ways to grow as a project manager and study my craft. And I put the PMP exam into perspective that it really wasn't the hardest thing I set out to achieve in my life. So I thought about what was a recent hard or difficult time in my life and how did I overcome it. So about a year ago, I ran my first half marathon, and that was hard as I didn't have much time to prepare, as my colleague asked me to run with her on 14 weeks notice. And it was mentally and physically grueling, but I did it. So I told myself that I can sit and take this exam for 4 hours. So as you establish that mindset for success, ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice to achieve your goals? When you're not working, what is the one thing that occupies your time? For me, it's YouTube. I love binge watching NPR Tiny Desk concerts. I decided to give that up for 30 days. Instead, got myself in the test-taking mode by watching David McLaughlin's 150 PMBOK 7 scenario-based PMP exam questions and videos. And in addition to that, instead of kind of perusing through my emails, kind of looking at deals and sales, I've subscribed to the PM newsletter on LinkedIn, which they send out daily. So I read those emails to kind of stay in the project management universe and the project management mindset. So those were some kind of additional resources I used on top of kind of my original study plan. So my advice to you or anyone looking to take the PMP exam is to commit to it, but do not burn out. Take breaks if you need it, but I recommend being strategic about your breaks so you're not cramming a bunch of information leading up to the exam. And let your actions show how committed you are. Establish that roadmap for success. A couple other things I did kind of leading up to the exam. 2 days leading up to the exam, I decided to drive to the test center. And this helped me to alleviate a little bit of anxiety in trying to find the test center, as I've never been to this other side of town before where the test center was. There is an option to take the exam online from the comforts of your home, but I've read too many horror stories. But ask yourself this question: does growth or success come from a place of comfort? Minimize the distractions, because you never know that day you decide to take the test, your internet could go out. Depending on where you live in a warm weather climate, is your neighbor mowing the lawn? Is the power gonna go out? You just never know what can happen. So that would be my recommendation to you. Go to a near test center near you, go in, take the exam, and just be completely in that moment and in that space, just minimizing all the distractions around you. And I'm a firm believer in the power of affirmations and speaking things into existence. So the day before the exam, I just kept repeating to myself, I'm going to pass. And in fact, I even prepared an email to my leadership team in advance, letting them know I had passed. So once I passed, all I had to do was just hit send. Speak your dreams and goals into existence. And on the day of the exam, I showed up an hour early to the exam center to really relax and just kind of, again, shake off those nerves. I would recommend being mindful of your time. Time management is key, and you have to have the right balance in taking your time and not rushing, and being mindful of the clock and ensuring you're answering all the questions. It's a 4-hour exam. And there are 2 breaks offered, but that's entirely up to you. If you're taking the exam, do you want to take those 2 10-minute breaks? I took the first break and I went outside to go walk, getting some fresh air to kind of reset my mind, and to go in and take the second half of the exam kind of refreshed and a little bit renewed, instead of just kind of plugging and charging the way through. I did not take the second break though, because I was in a momentum then and I was in a really great rhythm. I said, I'm gonna just keep going. So I finished the exam. I actually walked into the exam at 8 a.m. and I finished the exam at 12:30 p.m. And on August 21st, 2024, I passed the PMP exam, scoring above targets in 2 out of the 3 domains, and target in the other domain. And when the woman handed me the piece of paper, it was turned upside down. And so I kind of turned my back to her, and I turned over the sheet of paper and it said a provisional pass. And I couldn't believe it. And I looked at her and said, oh, wow, I passed. And she said, congrats. Go celebrate. Great job. Great job you did today. And I kind of stood there, froze for a second, and then got myself together and, headed out the door. And I literally just sat in my car for 30 minutes. Again, just still shocked that I had finally did it. And it still really didn't quite sink in until I got the official results from PMI with my certificate. It's still kind of so surreal to me. So I recommend, whether pass or fail, celebrate. And so in advance, again, I had already booked an appointment at the spa. And even if I did fail, I was still going to the spa just for me, just having the courage to just go after it again. Because I believe, we work so hard on the journey to get to the destination. Then when we finally get there, in that moment, we celebrate just a little bit, and then we kind of move on to the next thing. But I just really thought, hey, let me go celebrate this accomplishment. So I went to the spa, kind of did a brain dump, and just kind of relaxed myself. So what does it take to pass the PMP exam? I definitely would say it takes a strategy. I think I saw a statistic where there are about 1.2 to about 1.5 million PMP professionals worldwide. Something like that, don't quote me, but I would assume, or not even assumption, there's probably the fact that everybody's strategy is different. So there's no one way or no one path to really passing and taking the PMP exam. You have to really find what works for you. What I would recommend is that you visit the Project Management Institute website, read the requirements for the PMP exam and the exam outline content. Because I think each of us know where our blind spots are. And so for those areas in PM where you're not just as strong, maybe that's part of your strategy to sharpen those areas where you're not as strong. And you have to, again, define what really works best for you. It may not be getting formal PM education. You may find courses on Udemy or taking the PM study hall provided by Project Management Institute, or even kind of utilizing some of the study resources I use, because there are hundreds of resources out there. You may feel you don't need to evolve your experience like I did, and that's okay too. You may not struggle with imposter syndrome like I do at times and have to cultivate that mindset of success or sacrifice anything, and that's okay too. And maybe you can still do mindless social media scrolling and go take the test and ace it. Everybody's wired a bit differently. So whatever your strategy is, I wish you well on your PMP journey. Thanks for listening to today's show. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Project Management Masterclass. If you're ready to lead at a higher level, explore the Power Skills Academy and start mastering the skills that drive real project success. Visit www.developpowerskills.com. The link is in the description. See you in the next episode.